Okay, so we are looking at designing images that we can take into our final designs. There are loads of websites that will do this, from business cards, Vistaprint. If you're looking at t-shirts, or one like spreadshirt.co.uk. The one I'm going to be using today is www.zazzle.co.uk. And the reason I like using this sort of website is it allows you to have a look at what the models would actually look like, front, back and side. So what we're going to do is we'll start off by clicking with the men's clothing, and I'm going to try and look for something that is going to look quite smart for the shop. So we've got a sort of a shirt here, polo shirt, and we've got loads of different design shirts as it goes down, even branded ones like Adidas, etc. So what I will do is I will click onto something which I think would look a smart shirt, which is going to be this one here. Okay, now once I've gone through there, obviously the best thing about this is it actually tells me how to do it, and I just follow the instructions. So where it's got here, quick guide to it, add an image. So select image. This should then come onto my computer. From there I'm then going to click onto documents, and from documents click onto my design, click onto open, click onto OK to begin. Okay, so it's actually going on here, and away we go. Okay, now all I need to do then is literally start by filling in, clear change, yes. Add some text to your design, optional. No, we're not going to do that. At this point we can do some text, so if I wanted to put something underneath like store manager or the name of the person, I can actually drop that in, but I'm just going to click on to make it now. Now you can see what it automatically does with this software though, is it does sort of try and twist it so it fits into the area, which is quite effective, it's quite good. And all I'm going to do is move it and position it so I can see how that looks. There we go. So we've got the things in there as well. Now at this point what I would do is do screen captures, so I can import this port in. So I'm going to do that. So screen capture is just literally print screen, click onto my graphics. So I'm going to create a new sheet in here as well, new slide, get rid of these text box, quite annoying, and then just paste those in. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm then going to go back into it. I'm going to click onto the back, and I'm going to do exactly the same onto there as well. Do we want to customize it? Do we want to add the image? Yeah, we're going to add the image in, and it does exactly the same. So you just literally follow the instructions down there. Usually though it does actually have your image already in there, but this is just in case you want to have a different image on the back than you do on the front. There it is, and it's pretty much the same. So I can literally stretch this one so it fits in, and you can see it's angled and it wraps it so it looks as if it's actually on the shirt. Now when it gets too big for the shirt, obviously it will cut things out. So I can actually place that across, and away we go, and do exactly the same. Print screen, just going to go into these ones here and move that one slightly, and then just press Ctrl V. I can come back and edit these as well, and you literally just follow this process, but it will actually show me the different images that it's got in there. It's got the person if I need to, and what it looks like at the back for the different models. So what I will do there is I will take that image as well and do it a different way this time. I'm going to call that number 1 and see if it works that way. I'm not going to stick it in download, so I'll stick it in documents, save. Number 2. And let me just click back into my document and see if it's there, and if it is, that will be great. Okay, so my documents, just bring it in from the side there, it's page down. Loads of things we've got down there, and I called it number 1, number 2, so it should be right towards the front. I've got some images there, let's have a quick look if it'll allow me to do that. No, it's saved out an HTML document, so we'll do exactly the same though, is we'll just do print screen and do it the other way. Okay, now I'm going to do that exactly the same for a male and a female, and then we'll take it from there looking at the different styles, and then again I'll come back and see how we've placed it into our graphics folder. Okay, so we're looking at the actual final design sheets now in the folder, and what we can see is we've got the design layout that fills the page. There's no white spaces at all. If you look at the page though, what we can see is that there's only really 3 ideas of different styles of shirt and 5 different colours. Although it fills the page and it looks at a good design sheet, the development there isn't really that well organised or that advanced, so we do need something to add on to this. What you can see though is I've split the page sort of into thirds, where I've got my design ideas and one, I've got the reasoning behind them, the things I was thinking, where I've took the ideas from. In this case it's a Star Trek dress uniform, where they have different things for command operations and science and engineering, and it could be the same within the company structure there. I haven't dwelt too much on the company structure, but if you think of most businesses, things like McDonald's and have badges where they have stars on, so they allow them to get promoted. Development of staff is something that's quite important in business, and by doing the different colours, so obviously managers could wear red, normal sales assistants could wear blue, but it gives them the opportunity to work up the ranks. It could be something that you employ in your business and write about in there. I haven't included that as such, I've just mentioned it briefly, but it's something that I could use as an idea to develop my ideas. Okay, as ever, I've included a screenshot. I've gone too far, there we go. Included a screenshot of how I've actually completed my sketches, how I've drawn them as a sketch, how I've used a sort of an outline pen, scanned them in, took them into photo editing software and edited the colours to create these design sheets, so the examiner knows it's all my work. And although I've done a YouTube clip showing how I've done that, it still needs to be written into the folder, so they can give you marks awarded for it, and it's quite important that you're actually documenting the making process that you've done. As ever, there's a summary, and you can see the summary at the bottom of the page here, and all that's doing is summarising this sheet and the stage and the ideas that I've made from here. One of the things I've actually said here is I like the idea of having the rank system, so I've talked about that briefly. I've also talked about the target market, making sure that it's casual so it would appeal to the people that will be going into the shop, and how to make the uniforms recognisable so people know who works there really. And also looked at the commercial elements, so I've made a uniform that is unisex, so I don't have to spend separate money on a female uniform to a male uniform, and that will cut down the cost of business. Speaking of commercial elements, the next thing that we've just shown you is how to actually generate, using software on the computers, the designs commercially. And here it is. Now this is what I've actually completed now, and I've talked about how I've done it and the software I've used in this element. So again, I'm using the rule of thirds, and the prices are quite important, and also the different ways of printing. Some of this is embroidery, some of it will be screen printing, some of it will be vinyl printing sublimated. There are different methods of use, and that will affect the cost, and I've put the cost into these sort of designs as well. And that was the whole reason really of using this sort of website, that will allow me to do that. I've included the website at the bottom, and if I zoom in now, what we should be able to see is that I've gone for the full uniform. So on this note, different coloured shirts, just to show what it looks like. At this point I've actually said that I prefer it to be white. and that's why I've left it. I've done things like the baseball cap. Now certain software on this site, which is why I like this site, allows the image to actually be bent around the cap so it looks 3D. It looks as if it's actually wrapped around the cap. You can see on this side the N, this side the E, when we look at the side, front and back. And it's exactly the same with the shirts and the models. So it looks as if the shirt's being worn, so it's not just pasted on. Okay, so we've got the different shirts in there, long sleeve and also short sleeve, and then finally the hoodie. And again, the software even puts it behind the actual tassel and the cord that ties the hood, so it works very, very well. As ever, summary on the template, just to explain what it is we've actually discovered or we're going to run with. In this case, it's just explaining how I've used the website, that I've considered the cost, and I've considered the best method would be vinyl printing and then heat sublimating onto the item because it's cheaper than embroidery onto that. Okay, right, what else did we do? Well, while I was on there, it made sense to use some of the elements that was on there as well. So as I jump back to where my logos are, and it's going to be this one, what you can actually see is I've gone from where I've took my logos into how I can use my different logos, and this is what I've incorporated it into. So let me just have a zoom in. I've got a photo first of all of my letterheads and explains quickly how I've done that. I've got copies of my business cards, still using the rule of 3, so I've just copied them 3 times to take up the space. I've said that I've used Vistaprint on here as well as an example, but in fact I used Serif Draw to design mine, and I've put a summary on. The other things that I've actually got is on this element, and I'll just zoom in again so we can see a bit clearer, is I've actually used the website to create things like mugs, keyrings and travel mugs, and these are usually free gifts that the company gives away, so that's useful, and I've placed that in there as well. And I've just put that under accessories, which I might need to bring to the front. There we go, so it looks better. Yeah, but you can actually see how it's wrapped around the mug, and again that's quite useful software to give the idea of a photorealistic image of something that has been created that really hasn't. And then finally, transferred the logo onto the van. You can see I've added little things like the number plates, etc. And I've just inserted the livery on there. Now again, we're not really going to get too many marks for this idea, just sticking it onto a van and typing a few words. However, commercially it is a design aspect of any business, and it does show that you can transfer the skills across, and that this logo can work in different media formats. So there is some sort of development in there, so it is worthwhile having a go at doing. Once all that's done, what we're ready to look at then is the final design and make. But there's just a few things we need to look at, slightly to do with the business cards, and it's just to do with encapsulation.